right, welcome to this episode of Inside the Gym podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, and today we have back guest host John Garner. You've seen him on previous episodes, so we're excited to have John back. Today we're going to talk about atmosphere. So, where do you want to start first, John?
We can start with talking about how the gym owner sets the precedence for the gym, the atmosphere, and the culture.
Oh, 100%. I always say first, if I walk around a gym and I ask, hey, what do you guys think about John? And John owns the gym and nobody knows who John is, it's probably not a very good gym. I've said that a bunch of times, probably on other podcasts or on reviews, but it's so true. The gym owner really sets the culture of the gym. The more passionate the gym owner is about the gym, the more passionate the employees of the gym are going to be. And the more passionate the gym owner and the employees are going to be, the more passionate the members of the gym are going to be. And then that just sets the entire tone. The other thing, the gym owner sets the culture from a standpoint of, is this going to be a hardcore gym? Is this going to be and encouraging people to, if the members see the gym owner in the gym putting weights away, cleaning up, they're going to do a better job of doing that themselves and policing themselves, which affects the atmosphere. If the owner's making sure that the employees are doing that sort of thing, then the members will understand that's the culture of the gym, and they'll start doing it too. And then the same thing with people who don't fit the culture. If a gym owner is terrified of losing a membership because somebody's not the proper culture, doesn't fit the culture of the gym, then that can destroy the culture. Don't be, if somebody's coming in wreaking havoc in the gym and they're not a part of the proper culture, they don't behave properly, tell them to move on.
Yeah, because if you keep that one person, you'll lose others that you do want there based off that one person, which I've seen happen, because you try to make everybody happy, and inevitably when you try to make everybody happy, you end up upsetting more people.
Oh, 100%.
Like the music, for example, is one that pops in my head there, right? Let's say you have someone who really is passionate about not liking rap music, and the majority of your clientele listens to hard rap or loud music, and this person wants quiet, soft music. If you cater to that one person not wanting to hear an F-bomb or wanting to hear certain music entirely when everybody else likes that, and then you now change the music for that one person, you're going to upset the other, 50, 100 people who actually enjoy the music that you're playing at the gym. And now they're going to be upset because you have classical music playing or some soft, quiet music that maybe that's not the vibe or culture you're trying to create.
Oh, 100%. And music can really change the atmosphere of the gym. Let's kind of segue into that. I'm not somebody who generally likes to work out with my headphones on. I like to talk to people in the gym. I like to be approachable in the gym. And I feel like headphones don't kind of shut that down. But I just recently changed gyms, and I like the gym that I go to now. They've got brand new equipment. The owners are really involved. They just play shitty music. So I'm just forced to I don't want to go to the gym and listen to pop music. So I'm forced to, put my headphones on. While it's a nice atmosphere, for me, I don't want a nice atmosphere. So I throw my headphones on. I want a hardcore badass atmosphere. I've been to quite a few gyms. There's a gym in North Carolina that anytime somebody signs up, the owner tells them, this is a 24-hour gym that plays loud, hardcore music 24 hours. If you're the only one in the gym, you are not allowed to turn the music down because you don't know who's coming in next and how long you're going to be there by yourself. And everything is about the next person coming in. So if you don't like it, this may not be the gym for you. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I love that because you set the standard right away of what you're looking for. And I like the idea of getting stuff like that out front because it's going to excite the people who you want to be there in the atmosphere you're trying to build. And then the people who are going to throw a wrench in that or fight you on that or be an issue
Mhm.
potentially, you're already out the gate letting them know that, hey, if this bothers you, too bad. And so you can either not sign up now or you can find a way to work around it.
Yeah, and I have been to gyms that have the music so loud that even people who have headphones on can still hear it through their headphones. But so you can go a little overboard at times, but the
They
music
can.
can be such an important part of the setting the atmosphere. So
Well, there's a lot of times like I used to work at an Anytime Fitness in the commercial, but they run everything what's called a rock bot. And then I've seen some different people try to use a system similar, but essentially they have approved music that they can put on, and sometimes the owners control that to an extent. I don't know to what extent, but the biggest complaint working there I always heard from anybody was the music because they always catered towards the Silver Sneakers members and never towards the lifters, the athletes, and people who are actually there training. And
mhm,
everyone would always complain about the music and sitting there all day training, coaching, bringing in people, signing people up. It was dreadful sitting there listening to that music, right? So
mhm.
you want an atmosphere that keeps people upbeat and excited if that's the kind of gym you want to have. If you want people excited, you want people training hard, you need your atmosphere to match that.
Oh, 100%. And I've been to a few like 24-hour gyms that actually let members plug into the gym speakers, plug, either connect via Bluetooth or actually plug in and let a member or some members choose the music based on whatever's on their playlist on Spotify or, you know, something
There
like
was
that. So,
Jim in Charlottesville that did that for a while. He had an iPad that he set up with a lock so no one could take the iPad. And you could go in and put it on Spotify or Pandora, and they had premium of both. You could pick the music. And the unspoken rule was basically the biggest guy in the gym or strongest guy in the gym sets the music.
right.
And so it's kind of funny. Someone would walk in and put the music on, and then there's a big individual I think of come over there and change it. And then they'd share a look, and it was okay. It was whatever. And then, of course, the owner came in, and if anyone changed the music he was listening to, what he wanted to listen to, he went back over there and said, "Don't touch my shit." And it was
right.
it was a slightly toxic environment in some ways, but the guy had trained under Louis Simmons and kind of had that West Side vibe. And it's like the strongest, biggest guy rules the gym. If you're the strongest, biggest guy there in the moment, you pick the music. If not, they're going to change it, or you can sit there and argue about it. But surprisingly, it monitored itself pretty well. Like I think I saw people butt heads over music one or two times, and it was always somebody who just signed up a few days before and they just didn't fit the culture. Like we said before,
Yeah.
they came there like, oh, this is cool, and like, oh, this isn't really what I wanted anyway. They didn't like the
Right.
music. They didn't like, I'd say this is the difference between dirty and gritty. It was dirty and gritty, but they obviously when you looked at them the way they trained, they didn't fit anyway, and so the owner was like, I don't care, go ahead, leave, and
Yeah.
I always appreciated that.
Yeah. 100%. And then it's interesting you mentioned dirty and gritty. That's one of the other things that really affects the atmosphere is the cleanliness of the gym. Um, and that starts with the repair of the equipment down to like the floors, the walls. So, I mean, cleanliness of the gym is kind of self-explanatory for the most part. Like, is there chalk on the floor that doesn't get cleaned up? Are there water bottles laying around that don't get picked up? You
Energy
know,
drink cans, big one. Energy drink cans laying everywhere.
right,
Wipes, overflowing trash cans. Um, I mean, if you touch a piece of equipment and then look at your hands and there's dirt and rust all over your hands, that's also not a good feeling.
right.
Yeah.
But then it also goes into does equipment get put away? Do the attachments get put away? Do plates get put away? Are there plates just laying on the floor? And then it also goes into I kind of consider like the pads as part of cleanliness of the gym. If I'm looking at a piece of equipment and the pads are all frayed and cracked, and it just makes the gym look disheveled.
Yeah, and it makes you not want to touch things like that, especially like I think of doing like a reared up fly, and then you've got that face piece basically in your face, and if that's all broken up, everybody's spit, everybody's sweat is sitting there absorbing into that foam underneath the leather pads, and
Oh, I
that's not
never even
something
thought
you
about it
want
like that.
face
That's
against
gross.
it. Yeah, and it's like I don't know, think of that way sometimes with what you're touching, especially anything near the face. I ended up with MRSA at a it was an old gym that Anytime Fitness had bought or some sort of franchise and had a bunch of old equipment in there that was like old school equipment that was nice, but the whole thing was just filthy. And
Uh,
it was, I was like, oh, this is cool, having fun training at it. I'm like 18, 19 years old, ended up getting MRSA. So I'm pretty passionate about like things being clean. I want gritty. I want it cool. I want to have a good training environment, but I don't want to touch something and have to worry about getting a staph infection.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between grit and dirt. Like being gritty is super cool and badass. Being dirty is just gross. So make your gyms gritty. Don't make them dirty. Dirty's not cool. Nobody wants to work out in a dirty gym.
How would you break down the difference for people so when they think about gritty and making it gritty, like what are the key things you think that make it gritty without being dirty?
Like if you've got old school equipment that isn't perfectly restored, maybe it's got some scratches on it that gives it some character, or maybe all of your plates don't perfectly match. You've got like some iron plates from this company and some iron plates from that company, and you've got people use chalk and it gets cleaned up, but maybe it's not perfectly clean, like because
Just
you
enough
can't
to add
fully
like a little sparkle. Yeah.
right. It's those things that just give the gym a little bit of character without it being dirty. Does that make sense from a grit standpoint?
Yeah, that's where I was at too. And then like the artwork will be different from gritty. Like you can have a gym with like cool gym murals and artwork that's like very new age, very clean, very modern. And you can also have the same thing for gritty. That just the artwork's going to change a little bit, which have on the
Oh,
wall.
yeah. And if you want to
Me,
get into artwork, like artwork is huge. If you want to amp the atmosphere of your gym, the easiest thing to do and the cheapest thing to do, coming from the art world and the graphic design world, the cheapest and easiest thing to do is add some motivational things to your walls. You can get a company, you can either do it yourself, get a vinyl cutter that aren't that expensive, get some vinyl, cut out some stuff, put it up on the walls, or you can get a company to come put like a phrase up on your walls, and it just adds that extra little thing to let your members know, hey, like I care about your experience here, and I want your experience here to, I wanted this to be an experience, not just a place you come and throw some weights around.
and what I would say with that too is like the motivational quotes tell a story with them to a degree, or make them
Mhm.
something that you're personally passionate about. Because if you just look up random gym motivation quotes and throw that on a wall, it's going to feel fake. But if
Oh,
you have something like that actually personally means something to you, like everything, like I've got my office here, I've got some quotes behind me there, and it's like things that mean something to me. And putting stuff like that on the wall that has some meaning to either some of your members or people close to you that has some passion behind it, because people will sense that rather than just some cheesy, chat GPT or, Googled, hey, gym quotes and throw it up on a wall.
100%. Yeah, because like my home gym, I call it the bear cave because my wife calls me the bear. Not to get too much into that, but when I get hungry, I'm probably the bear. So I call it the bear cave. Um, the motivational stuff I have up in there is all about like being a bear, because it's personal to me because I have like, it says iron in one spot. And it says because bears are never soft.
That's awesome and personal. And like
Stuff like
that,
that.
I can even see seeing that on a wall. It's like, oh, cool, because it's creative. It's not generic.
Right.
Like mine was. I'm selling my home gym now, but the Lions Den was what I did because I was the Iron Lion in history, always liking lions and stuff. And then I've got a piece of artwork that my manager at GNC, when I worked there right out of high school, she had painted it, and then I had the lion tattoo, so she gave me the lion painting, and it's like that's some personal things that like remind me that hey, this is important, and it's not just your run of the mill, just something
Right.
generic.
Yeah. I mean, you can throw trust the process up on the wall, and that's better than having nothing up on the wall.
Yeah,
But I've probably been to 50 gyms that have trust the process up on the wall.
yeah,
I mean, if
or
that's if
something
that's what
about
you got, that's what you got. But it's better than nothing.
or love the pump, and then so it's like okay, like whatever.
Yeah. But at the same time, also don't be generic. Like
Yeah.
if you walk into a big city fitness, you walk into an LA Fitness, all of their walls have artwork, but all of their walls have generic artwork where it's a fitness model that's never been in that gym. No one's ever seen that person. They've probably never even been to your state. They posed for a photo. They made a big print out of it and put power or strength next to it
Yeah.
and then slapped it up on the wall in every LA Fitness in the country. And to me, that is the opposite of motivational. That, it just makes the gym feel generic. It kind of
Yeah,
brings
yeah,
the
exactly.
atmosphere down.
Yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, so artwork can be huge, as long as it's personal to the gym, it's well done. We're actually filming an episode on gym murals. I've got two of the best muralists in the country coming on to do a whole episode of the podcast, just to walk through what their process is and how they do murals, and just to introduce gym owners to them. So that'll be coming up, because murals, I think, and I'm a little biased because having come from a graphic design background and loving art, I love going into a gym and seeing like badass murals, and
it's
just,
my favorite. Yeah,
oh yeah, just knowing that the owner cared enough, because they're not cheap. I mean,
yeah, you're
you
not getting paid per se right back for that, right? You're paying somebody a lot of time and a lot of effort to become that good of an artist in order to do that. Like
mhm.
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like these guys generally have like, it's generally like 2 grand to get them to your place, you know. So it's not cheap. It's not like spending $400 on a few different vinyl quotes on the wall, but the impact that it can have to tell your members, like, this is an experience. I want to create an experience for you. Like, I want you to come in here and like love being here, and I care about that part of it for you. And let's create something here. I think it tells a story, like you were saying, and it just creates that, like, we're doing this kind of. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, if you can make your business tell a story and bring people in and make people want to be a part of that journey, it's going to market itself that way, and I think you're going to have more buy-in from your clientele. I think those people are going to want to stick around longer. It's going to be harder to lose a person because if you compare equipment to equipment to equipment on a gym and they're all pretty similar, then what's the deciding factor? It's going to be the culture and community and atmosphere. How do you
oh,
feel when you walk through the door?
yeah,
And
that's the other thing I say all the time to gym owners. Like, your equipment might get people in the gym, but the atmosphere is either going to keep them there or cause them to leave.
yeah, because there's tons of places I've walked in and been like, man, my entire training session felt awkward. And there's other gyms that it's like I could find a way to spend longer here and work out, just extend the time here because it feels good to be here.
Like, there's an LA Fitness, like, not far from where I from where I work out every day, and it has more equipment than the place that I work out every day. The atmosphere in there is so bad that I went in and worked out one time, because I talk a lot of shit about LA Fitness. So I had to go in there and work out once. I'm like, I got to stop talking shit about them if I've never been there. I left in the middle of my workout because the atmosphere was so bad. Like, I couldn't even stay. So, like, know that the atmosphere is so important to the gym and the vibe, and like people's overall experience. I mean, people are paying money to come to the gym, not just to throw weight around. Like, the gym is so mental for so many people. It's not just a physical chore. It's a place that they come to reset their mind and reset their body. And I go to the gym almost every day, and I hate taking days off. Even if I just go to the gym and do a very light day because I'm sore, just the mental part of going to the gym is so important to me that I'm not a fan of days off. I know there's trainers all over the world now yelling at me, going, "Stop telling people not to take days off." It's not what I said. I said I don't like to take days off, just because it's such a mental thing for me to go to the gym and just move some things around and just have that time in the morning to start my day.
Yeah.
Then when you're in a spot that has a great atmosphere, it just so enhances the mental part of that.
I'll be the first to say, like end of last year, I probably wasn't the best mental space, and that continued through pretty much a little after my move to Lynchburg. And having a gym, like my desire to train, I still worked out on schedule. I didn't miss workouts, but like my workouts, they sucked. My quality sucked. I got injured. I wasn't feeling good. Like left and right, felt like everything wasn't going well. And I didn't like training at home, but I trained there because I didn't like the gyms that I had access to either. It was okay, but I didn't feel good about training anywhere. And then I was actually excited when we moved to Lynchburg because I'm like, here I have a good gym right down the road that every day I'm excited to go work out. I'm excited to use the equipment. I'm excited because there's a variety of equipment to where I can train on it. Even when injured, I can move around, and have some more exercise variety to work around things. And the atmosphere that they've created there is just something else I'm excited to be a part of and be there. It feels good to be there. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's excited. It's busy sometimes, but it's got a good community. The owner's constantly there. He says hi. He calls you by your name. Sure, your name pops up when you walk in usually, but he remembers that I bought a protein bar today and I hadn't scanned in, and he knew my name right off the bat and was able to take care of it. And I've talked to him a few times. Never even had a full conversation about anything, but that's the amount of care that he shows, and that means something to me rather than going to a place where nobody takes care of it. The place doesn't feel good to be at. Everything's
Oh,
dirty.
yeah. And that, like, I was in a gym in New Jersey that I was standing there talking to the owner because he's such a character to talk to, and it was such a great conversation. I was probably standing there talking to him for a half an hour. And the entire half an hour that I was talking to him, it was a fairly busy gym. Every person that walked into that gym gave him a fist bump and said hello to him. They weren't just scanning in and walking by. Every single person gave him a fist bump on the way in and on the way out. It was like, that's setting a culture. Like,
Yeah, because if your gym members want to say hi to the staff members, that means you've got a good team of people. And if you're the owner, that means you're doing something right. Because I know a lot of times where people just want to get in and out and not talk to anybody.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and to me that's a big box kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Like, when I was, you know, when I was coming after my cancer surgery, I don't want to get into all that, but after my cancer surgery, I was on the couch for a month. At the end of that month, I couldn't wait to get back in the gym because I needed to be around my gym family. It wasn't even that I needed to go work out. I need to get back amongst my gym family.
Yeah,
And
you
when you
miss seeing
create
those
a
people.
good, what's that?
You miss seeing those people that
Oh,
become part of your
100%.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you create a good culture, though, that's what it becomes for people. It becomes a gym family, and they become a part of that, and that is so important from a mental standpoint, even more than the physical standpoint. So, it's just that extends to how important atmosphere is.
Yeah, I would say the most important factor is creating a good atmosphere, community, however you want to word that. I think that's the most important thing you can do with a gym. Speaking with atmosphere, what are some other things? I know like locker rooms play a big role in an atmosphere. At least being able to go in and like some gyms have them, some don't. But if your gym has it, or even the bathrooms, the quality of that bathroom or locker room is gonna, I'd say, play a big role in that as well.
I think it's really interesting when you go to a bunch of different gyms and see how they handle bathrooms and locker rooms. Like, when I go to a fitness center and I meet the owner, I meet the general manager, one of the first things that they say to me almost every time is, you got to check out our locker rooms, because they put a lot of effort into the locker rooms. They put in a decent amount of money to the locker rooms, and they're really proud of them. And the members who go there really care about that. And if you're a fitness center and you have shitty locker rooms, that's going to like change the vibe of your gym. Like, if you're a fitness center, you got to have a good locker room. It's got to be it's got to at least look like it's not old and disheveled, and you got to have fresh paint in there. The lockers
Yeah,
got to work properly. It's got to have like above average showers. Like, it's got to look pretty good. It doesn't
yeah,
have to have Italian marble on the walls, or
yeah.
but it's got to at least be inviting.
Yeah, if you got the paint peeling off the wall or floor peeling up or parts that aren't finished or the stalls are broken, and they don't close or open, or they're not even connected to the floor right, or you've got chips pieces broken out of the mirrors if there's a mirror in there, or the
Mhm.
shower you go in and it's like you can tell like the grout hasn't been cleaned or redone and the tiles cracked all throughout the shower. Like you go in there and it's just kind of like the gritty versus dirty, gym conversation. You don't want to feel afraid of getting a disease by
No,
touching
100%.
stuff. And also you don't want to go in there and just like have dirt wiping off onto your bag from everything either. It's cleanliness, I think, with the locker room is a big one. And then
Yeah.
quality of the finishes, quality of what's around you. And sure, like you mentioned, the marble, like if you can go big and go all out, absolutely. But I think bare minimum is making sure that, there is a flow that goes well, the paint's done well, the finishes are done well, and you don't have, broken, the benches aren't chipped wood that if you slide on the bench, you're going to get a splinter in your butt,
Right. But on the flip side, if you go to a hardcore badass gym, like a really good powerlifting gym or a really good bodybuilding gym, I've been to a few that have really nice locker rooms. Um, but for the most part, they've got bathrooms.
Yeah.
Because the owners don't want to take up space that they could add equipment for big, nice locker rooms, because their members would rather have an extra 50 square feet of gym equipment on the floor than an extra 50 square feet of locker room. Now, the bathrooms that they have still need to be clean and nice and not look gross and old and disheveled. But you don't have to have really nice locker rooms in a hardcore gym. But you also can't have a gross bathroom people are afraid to go into, because that just changes the atmosphere too. And it doesn't matter if how much effort you put in to the gym floor and how badass and how cool your gym is. If somebody goes into the bathroom and they're afraid to use the bathroom because it's so gross, they may not come back. Like, the gym might be badass, might be crazy, one of the best gyms in the country, but people have to use the bathroom. And if they are afraid to wash their hands because everything is gross, they're not going to come back. So it's important. They don't have to be like the most fancy bathrooms in the world in these badass gyms, but they need to be, they need to be acceptable.
It's kind of like when we talked about like average versus next level or below. I would say like fitness centers, having a good locker room is important. And then it's one of those like, cool if you have it in a powerlifting bodybuilding gym, but it becomes less important. And then the quality of the bathroom is like, is it clean? Can I use it? And then cool, if it has a shower in there, better. But if not, a lot of people aren't going to care. And then if, you go in there and there's good lighting, you can take a good selfie, you look jacked in the mirror, even better. But again, those aren't the things selling your memberships at that point.
Right.
Just,
But
the cake.
But it's also on the flip side. Like, I've been to a gym where the locker room was really nice, and it was a powerlifting / bodybuilding gym, really nice locker room, and the equipment was like fairly limited. So it kind of changed the atmosphere on the other side. Like, oh yeah, there's these great locker rooms, but like, why did you spend so much money in the locker rooms when you needed to spend money on the gym floor?
Yeah, it's like where's the quality of equipment to
And
make
where do you care about? Like, what do you care about? Like, do you care about the gym and the experience, or, an interesting thing I've been seeing since we're talking about locker rooms is I've seen several decent sized gyms getting rid of locker rooms and showers and going to individual changing rooms. So instead of having like a big women's locker room and a big men's locker room, they take all that out and they'll have like 3 or 4 or 5 or a half a dozen individual changing rooms where they have, your toilet, your sink, your shower, and enough space in there to change your clothes, which I think is super cool. Because one, it's not, it kind of puts the culture out there. In those gyms I was at, it kind of makes everyone feel like, we're all on the same level here. This isn't like, oh, well, that's where the women go, this is where the men go. We all go to this spot. Yeah. And it takes away any of those. What's that?
Yeah, so you all use the same bathrooms. You're not concerned about any politics getting into it. You're not concerned about anybody's feelings getting hurt about it. People have the privacy they need to have, and they can get their business done and go back to work.
Yeah, and in those kind of gyms, they're all hardcore gyms, and they're all like, people are there to get stuff done. But it also takes away any of those issues that you see sometimes online of people like filming in the locker room or filming other people inadvertently in the locker room, or
Oh yeah, that
you
was a
know,
big thing. I feel like a few months back, I was thinking a lot of people, and maybe that's just pop it up as the algorithm and everything. But a lot of people, there's an individual influencer who's like calling people out for those things, and making fun of people in the locker room and stuff like that. And nobody goes in the locker room to change, to be on someone else's camera and end up on it, getting roasted online.
that you get that one every morning too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, shout out to Joey Swell.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was like, this popped in my head. Yep.
yeah, no, I get those too. Yeah, so I mean, to kind of like bring it back, so to kind of summarize or kind of put us back where we were, um, the to begin with, from an atmosphere standpoint, the owner, because I feel like we've kind of got all over the place a little bit, and that's cool. But I just wanted to summarize or bring it back. To start with, from an atmosphere standpoint, it's the owner has to set the culture, and the culture will then kind of spur the atmosphere. The owner's passion will kind of help create the atmosphere. There are things you can do to amp up the atmosphere, but it's all about the owner setting the culture first. Then, from amping up the atmosphere, um, it's about the cleanliness of the gym, the repair of the equipment, keeping everything in good working order, keeping everything clean, and then adding things to the gym that kind of either A, tell a story, or B, just let your members know that you're trying to create an experience for them, and this just isn't a place to come push some heavy stuff around. And then beyond that, we talked about locker rooms and other things besides just murals and motivational stuff on the walls that you can do to amp up the atmosphere. Um,
What do you think about like lighting? So you'll see a lot of the modern new age gyms, the type of lighting they're putting in, and I think that that's something that creates a cool atmosphere and vibe when you go in. You've got the almost like honeycomb lights.
mhm.
I've seen those and a few other. Some are just rectangles with light bars and stuff like that, but just something out of the ordinary that's not super common in commercial buildings and things. And for the lighting, I think that that can add a really cool vibe or atmosphere when you walk in and you see something like that, and the lighting's a little bit different.
I think it's cool. I think that it needs to be in the right space. And it's funny, like there are things that you can do. There's money you can spend in your gym that can be super cool. And there's things that you can spend money in your gym, and you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Like I was in a gym a couple weeks ago that the entire gym is on the second floor. You walk in on the first floor, but then the gym's on the second floor. And when you walk up the steps, every time you step on a step, the step lights up. It was some kind of like onyx steps or something, and it had like the lighting underneath it. When you stepped on it, it lit up. It was cool, but I'm just like, why? Like it didn't change my experience in the gym.
Yeah, it's like a minor thing. You're like, okay. It's like there's a Play Kids museum here that I'll take my daughter to, and she loves that. Great for kids, but like as an adult going to a gym, that's one of those things that's just like, I don't know. Like I guess it sounds cool, but it doesn't feel like it would create anything extra. Like there's no umph behind that. Yeah,
Right.
and I feel it's probably pretty expensive to do. I would think that that's quite a bit of
Mhm.
money.
And you don't usually see that kind of misspend in like more hardcore gyms. I see a lot of misspending in fitness centers. Like I'll see a fitness center with like a big water feature. I'm like, why? Like, you've got this huge waterfall wall. Like you could have put a piece of equipment there. Why? I don't.
Yeah, it's like I can see that maybe like a yoga studio,
Right.
Pilates, something like that. But like when you're talking about like a gym fitness center, it's like like if it was there before and you bought the building, cool. But like if you spent the money to put that in, I'm like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people still need to come in here and go hard. I mean,
Yeah, it's like I think of a relaxing waterfall. I feel like that would definitely take away from my ability to like immerse myself in my training.
right.
Like I would be like it'd be pretty, but like it just that and hardcore just don't go together in a hard
Right.
workout. Like
Yeah. I mean, if you had enough space to have a cool down room,
Yeah.
or a stretching room. That'd be a cool thing to go in there, but like not not like within earshot or like view of the actual like weight room,
Imagine like hitting some heavy squats and just got the waterfall in the background. Oh,
right?
oh. Keep your
And actually, I
novice
don't.
dancing.
If my memory serves me right, I don't think it was even that far from the racks. So like,
Yeah, that's comical. What do you think are some of the biggest things that can take away from atmosphere from gym atmosphere? I know you said like if the owner's not involved, that's obviously a big red flag. What are some other things you think really pulls away from the atmosphere in a gym? Because you've seen more gyms than arguably anybody in the U.S. So you
well, besides, I mean, we talked about the owner and his involvement, and his passion for the gym. Because some people are gym owners and some people are business owners who own gyms, and there's a huge difference. So their passion for the gym is so obvious. The cleanliness of the gym, if the gym's dirty, that takes away a huge from the atmosphere. The equipment being repaired is huge. And then actually, like I was in a gym in Pennsylvania and I spoke to the owner about it. He had his logo on the wall and that was it. It was a pretty decent sized gym, probably 18, 20,000 square feet. And it was blacked out walls. It was cool, really good equipment. And the logo of the gym was on the wall in one spot. And I was just like, it'd be really cool if like you amped it up. He's like, I like it clean. I'm just like, it's not
okay.
about you. It's about your members. And it's about providing something really cool for your members, you know. And like I was in a gym in Wisconsin that had completely white walls. Nothing on the walls. Every wall was white, nothing on them. And that just completely distracted from the atmosphere for me. You
Yeah,
know,
you get stuck in it. It almost feels
like it was
white
clean.
collar. Maybe it's the wrong way to put it. It's clean, but like it almost feels too clean. Like it's the equivalent of like if you're trying to talk in a library, you almost feel uncomfortable
Mhm.
because it's so quiet. So same thing
Yeah.
with gym, all white walls. You feel like it's almost like a commercial gym vibe, for lack of a better way to put it. You just kind of feel like there's not a whole lot of culture within that.
Mhm. And it's funny, like from an equipment variety standpoint, I've talked to a lot of gym owners that have said I picked the equipment that I wanted to use, and that's what I put in the gym because I wanted, if I really liked it and it was something that I loved, I thought other people would, and that has really worked out for them. At the same time, I've seen a lot of gym owners go wrong in atmosphere because they like this particular type of atmosphere, and it's maybe like you don't have, I think in atmosphere you don't have to go for like the broad norm, but you can't be so dialed into one little thing that you like that you're excluding a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You could have somebody who's really, really into some niche thing that nobody else really is, and it's going to pull away from other people's enjoyment, even if you enjoy the atmosphere, because people aren't going to understand it if it's not something that's a little widely more accepted.
Yeah, and it's not like you need like a ton of things on the walls or that you need like, because you can put too much on the walls, you know, that you can go overboard.
Yeah,
But
make it messy.
people need to know that like that you're trying to create an experience. So I think the walls are huge.
And we talked a little bit about like old school equipment and in good repair, and that's also with noting. It's like just because something's old, I think we had talked a little bit about it, but just because something's old doesn't make it like cool old school equipment. Because you can have something that's run down old that it's old and discontinued for a reason, and then there's old school and a rare piece that everybody wants to get. And there's a big difference between that, and then making sure that old school equipment is in good working repair so that it actually functions
Oh,
appropriately.
and I almost forgot. One of the things that I've seen affect the atmosphere huge that was actually a really small buy was a water station.
Ah, yeah.
Like if if the owner cares enough to make sure that the members have a clean spot to get water, because not everybody remembers to bring water bottles all the time, and not everybody wants to buy water. So if and you should, I just don't feel like. I also feel like you shouldn't be gouging members for like overpriced water bottles. Like, give them a place to fill up their water bottle. Most
Yeah,
people have
or
water
if you're
bottles in
selling
their.
water bottles, like you buy a case of water for not that expensive. I hate when I start seeing water bottles for $3.50, $3 a bottle of
Yeah,
water, and
insane.
yeah,
Like,
it's you're
I
not
can
making
buy,
money off the water. Yeah,
yeah, I buy 40 bottles at Costco for $6.
yeah. So
And
sell
it's
them for $1, and even that's expensive.
right.
Yeah, like
So, but yeah, I've talked to a couple of gym. I almost forgot about this. I talked to a couple of gym owners that said that when they bought a water filtration like bottle filling station, their members actually seem to get more excited than the last piece of equipment they bought.
well, it's like when you're in a workout, like yeah, if it's hot out, or you're really building a sweat, like there's some times when you're like, "Fuck, I need something to drink. I need some water." And the last thing you want to do is go to a gym bathroom, even if it's a clean gym bathroom, and fill up and tap water in the sink where hundreds of people wash their hands every day. It's not
Oh
exactly the
yeah,
spot
that's true.
I want to drink water from. A lot of people won't even drink tap water. So if you have a filtration system, like I don't know. I use one every single time I go to the gym. I'll fill up water there because I go to the gym. I'm drinking pre-workout, and if I've got an intro workout with me, cool, that's made already. But if I don't, I'm going straight to that water station, or I'm mixing my intro workout there, so I'm going straight to that water station. And then at the end of my workout, I'm filling up my water and I'm going home with it. And so it's like something that I use more frequently than half the equipment. It's I'm using it every day during my workout.
Oh, and you brought. I almost forgot about temperature. Like, we hadn't talked about temperature at all.
That's huge, actually. Yeah, we might have some different opinions. I know mine on this. I'm curious to say yours.
Um, I just know that the temperature of the gym affects the gym. Like, I don't want to. I have zero problem going in and working out at a gym that is blazing freaking hot. I don't have a problem with
So
that.
we're going to be in agreement then. Yep. I'll work
Like,
out all day at a hot gym. I fucking
I
hate steaming
I
hot.
cannot work out in a cold gym. It's dangerous to work out in a cold gym.
You get injured easier.
Hmm.
And some people blame it on bacteria. I've heard, oh, we're trying to make sure bacteria doesn't grow in the gym. I was like, then clean your equipment.
Right.
Clean the gym. Because I don't know, I'll get in a bad mood. Like if I go into a gym and I get a pump, and the moment I take off my hoodie, I get cold again, I'm gonna be pretty grumpy. Like there's a gym I've been to, and they have these giant, almost like helicopter blade fans on the ceiling. When it's really hot outside, I still don't like those because the moment if I'm sweating, they blow so hard it's cooling down my sweat, and they have
Hmm.
the thing still air conditioned. And if that was a warehouse gym that didn't have any air conditioning, maybe I'd like it. But I think the standard is like a lot of gyms are like 68 degrees, and I personally like I want it well above that. Like
Oh
70
yeah.
degrees is the coldest I want to be in a gym. I can maintain a sweat. It's in the low to mid 70s. But if it's below 70, like it's cold. And then in the winter, it feels even colder because you've got the window everything cold. Like I can't stand that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%. Like, to me, the gym. Like, I would never work out in a public gym without my shirt on. It's just not who I am. I don't have a problem with the people who do that as long as they clean their equipment afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not who I am. But I feel like the temperature of the gym should be comfortable enough that if I didn't have a shirt on, I would be fine.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it because, like, I'm the same way. Maybe it's because I've just never been shredded enough, but I don't like working out without a shirt on. It feels uncomfortable. Doesn't feel like something I'm comfortable with. But I would want to know that if I take my shirt off, I shouldn't be cold. I should be able to still move around and work out and feel comfortable in that room.
Yeah, and even in the winter, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to start working out in my sweatshirt until I start getting a pump or start getting like build up a little bit of sweat. Just because I do not want to go in and start working out cold. So I'll keep my sweatshirt on at first. But if I take my sweatshirt off, I shouldn't be cold. Like, I should still be warm.
And like I worked out one of the first gyms when I started really training regularly that I worked out in was a 24-hour gym. Local owner didn't put a lot of the work and care that he could have put into the gym, but it was cool. There's a good culture community there. There's a lot of shortcomings for sure, but like one thing, there was no AC, there was no heat. In the summer, it was blistering hot with a big fan, and in the winter, it was cold. Same with the gym that I worked at here in Charlottesville, where I mentioned with the music. Same thing, no heat, no real AC. And I would literally go in and run a mile on the treadmill just to build up enough of the sweat to start sweating to work out, because I'd be shivering because it'd be 14 degrees, 12 degrees outside. And like that obviously is a whole nother extreme. You can bring that up too. I guess it's like gyms making sure they have some sort of heating and cooling, I think is pretty important.
Yeah.
Because in the summer, I think you're going to have less pushback. People don't want to be hot, but there's fans and ways around that. But definitely, like in the winter, if you're in any cold climate, you're going to lose some members because they're gonna go to that cozy LA Fitness down the street that keeps it at least 70 degrees in there, and they have some AC. But
yeah, it's got to be warm. It doesn't have to be cool during the summer, but it's got to be warm in the winter. Like
you can't have a cold gym. That's probably when we talk about like enjoyment working out. That's probably one of the biggest ones. I'll even see gyms like the gym I'm working out now. They'll crack the bay doors open, when it's not too cold out on some of the different days. And I personally, I don't like it because it's kind of cool outside when they'll crack them open. And I'd rather them crack it open in the summer. And it's like that cold breeze will be coming through that door. And instantly it's like, man, I need to go put my hoodie back on.
Right. Yeah. No, I love the gyms with the bay doors in the summer, and you get that little bit of there's a gym's hot and you get a little breeze through there. So that's super cool. But like if it's chilly out, no, thank you.
Close that and crank the heat up. I don't know. I'm a baby too, like temperature wise. When I'm working out, I love to be hot. The rest of the day, I'd rather be a little cold. But the working out is one place I want to be sweating. I want to be hot. Any other time of the day, I don't really want to sweat. But like when I'm working out, this is one time I should not have a problem building up a sweat if I'm trying to train.
100%. Yeah. So I think we kind of covered a lot of stuff. So hopefully you were able to, if you were listening to this, hopefully you followed us the whole way through, and hopefully that on our various tangents, you were able to like stay with us. And just to kind of summarize, it's the thing that I say all the time, that your equipment might get someone in the gym, your atmosphere is going to keep them there. And we thought this podcast was super important because atmosphere is so important, and there's so many different ways that you can go good or bad, and so many things that you can do to enhance your atmosphere, or so many things if you do it wrong you're going to take away from the atmosphere. But it all starts with the gym owner and the culture that they set. And then once you get that culture started and you've got a good thing going in your gym, you can always amp it up and make it better. So, and go ahead. Do you want anything else you want to
say? I mean, seeing someone always striving to improve it, I think, like you said, you can always level it up. You can always amp it up. Don't be place it with, oh, hey, like it's good. People seem happy. It's like, if you have something you can do to make it better, definitely, take ownership and make that better.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Just, and adding equipment, something we didn't talk about. I don't want to keep going on to more things you can do to amp up your atmosphere, but just creating an environment and a place where people know that you care and you're passionate about your gym will cause them to be passionate about the gym. And working out in a place that people are passionate about working out at is all the difference in the world. And if you're worried about marketing, create a place where people are passionate about being there, and your marketing will take care of itself. You won't have to market to anyone if the people working out at your gym love working out there, because they'll do the marketing for you. They'll post on social media about how badass your gym is. They're going to tell all their friends about how amazing your gym is. Create that culture, create the atmosphere, and you won't have to worry about marketing. So hope this was helpful, and be on lookout. We're going to have, as I mentioned, we got an episode coming up really soon with some gym muralists. So hopefully that'll add on to this atmosphere aspect, and we'll be back soon.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.